Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we have this communication satellite currently in orbit over Minmus, a very high orbit over Minmus to be precise, and we are just heading to this maneuver node here with the goal being, if I can get there we go, with the goal being to change to a polar orbit. Now our inclination isn't going to be exactly ideal, but it's close enough for what we're looking to do. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to the next maneuver, which is going to be a few days. There we go. And this is only a 1-second burn. Realistically, there's not much to be done here burn-wise. So I'm not going to throttle up very high at all. But I am going to go ahead and warp forward a little bit more, and this is also a slightly elliptical orbit here. We're going to fix that once we get this inclination change done. Okay. So let's go ahead and start changing our inclination. Continue to sit right on that maneuver node, if at all possible. Okay, let's get changed over here. Okay, that will have to do. And then at the periapsis here, I'm going to go ahead and do a very, very tiny retrograde burn to get us right there. Technically, that is an incredibly tiny prograde burn. Did I say retrograde? It's a prograde burn. It's a very, very tiny burn. No, it's not prograde. What am I talking about? It is totally retrograde. Ugh, it's too early in the morning for this. Okay, so let's go over here. We're going to get a million screen messages, but for now, that's okay. Let's go ahead and warp to this maneuver. This is going to be an incredibly small burn, a very precise burn, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to pull it off, realistically. We'll have to see. Let's head to retrograde. 311 screen messages? Disgusting. In the meantime, I'm going to clear some of these. I wish we could right-click on it too, so that I could just spam both and get two at a time. Or, you know, a clear button would be nice too. Okay, let's go ahead and do this now. I don't think it's such a minute amount that it really doesn't matter. Good enough. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and circularize this. I don't want this to be very elliptical. So let's go ahead and bring this up to about 2.1, or thereabouts. 2.168. Technically, I want it to be circular, so like that. 1.9 meters per second. Let's go. Warp to next maneuver. And here comes a million more screen messages. I'll just try to get rid of some of those. I like how this is flashing up. Okay, now it won't. Technically, we've got another day here. Okay. I was definitely losing the battle there. No, we want to be prograde. You can stop that. Go back to prograde. Fantastic. Okay, let's go ahead and warp forward. We want to do this at basically 0 seconds. So, at the node time. In 10 seconds. That was a little too much. These are very precise burns. We need to go retrograde. The amount of delta V it takes over Minmus this high up to do very large changes is so small. Okay. Good enough. That's good enough. Okay, so technically, where is our base? Our base is technically here right now. So it's going to be occluded from this. Now, if we really want to be thorough, we should set up a second polar orbit going this direction. So that way we basically have guaranteed coverage. That would be a nice thing to have, to be sure. So let's go ahead and head back to the Space Center and take a quick look at our contracts to see if we have anything that we need to do. Let's see here. Complex scan with rover arms. Green sandstone from Minmus. We suspect you can find one of these in the Greater Flats, Great Flats, or Flats biomes. Yes, we are going to do that. Not immediately, though. A satellite in synchronous orbit of Duna. I mean, that would be cool. Realistically, it's out of scope for this particular project. I want to see what this orbit looks like, though. Really? That inclination is synchronous? Duna doesn't look like it has that kind of axial tilt, but maybe it does. I don't know. I mean, that would be a neat orbit, to be sure. And realistically, we probably have the delta V to do it in our current design. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab the contract. It may or may not end up happening. But I'm going to grab it. And if we feel like taking a break from Minmus, we'll head over to Duna and do that. It'll just give us an option. However, we do need to put up another communication satellite over Minmus. Basically 90-degree polar orbits is what we're aiming for. So realistically, I mean, it's just the same thing. So let's go ahead and launch this. Let's get this one done nice and quick, and then we can call our communications network within the Kerbal system done. Because realistically, I think that should do it. Or very close to it. Okay, let's go. And while we are in the process of going here, I'm going to get rid of some screen messages. Okay, zooming out slightly. Because we're not going to require anything for a little bit here. I wish I could drag them off to the side or something. But yeah, if it's going to spam this many screen messages, they need a clear all button. I know I've said that a million times, but it's very necessary. Luckily, this is kind of a boring time right now anyway, so I can safely do this. Safely-ish. Okay, only 50 more to go. $20 more. There. Done. Excellent. What's our apoapsis looking like? 20 kilometers. Perfect. Should probably go ahead and start this gravity turn relatively soon. I'm going to go ahead and say at 20 kilometers. Okay. Just very cautiously tip over. Now don't tip that much. We're okay to just stay right here. Okay, now I would like to be closer to the horizon. Now I would like to ditch those side boosters. Fantastic. And now the fairing. Fantastic. Okay. Our apoapsis is plenty high at this point, so let's go ahead and create a circularization node. And how much DV do we need for that? About this is basically what we want. So let's go ahead and head to the maneuver node. We are now in space, so that's fine. We want to burn this at 36 seconds, T-minus 36, so we've got about a minute to kill here. So let's go ahead and warp forward. I'm only going to stay on 5x for right now. Okay. Mark. And this should be basically the perfect time to burn. Theoretically. We don't really care about what our final apoapsis ends up looking like as long as it's circular-ish. That'll help us substantially. And as long as our periapsis is in space, that'll help too. I don't like atmospheres. Atmospheres are jerks. At least when you're trying to go places. We are, of course, past the apoapsis right now and falling. But that's okay. We have plenty of time to finish up this burn. It's heading upwards a little bit here. Technically this is good enough, but I'm going to go ahead and make it slightly better. If I don't hit the wrong button. There we go. That's good enough. So, as before, we will go ahead and set Minmus as our target. And we're going to need to do an inclination burn, looks like at the ascending node. So this is going to be a 6.9 degree burn because this is a bit of an inclined orbit. And I believe we're going to need to go anti-radial here. Yes, indeed. Okay. Technically, we don't need to burn quite that much. It'll be a bit more efficient if we burn it right about there. Let's go ahead and head to anti-normal. And then I'm just going to go ahead and warp to next maneuver. We're slightly off of the node, but I'll adjust that when we get to the maneuver. Excellent. More screen messages. Just what I always wanted. I wonder if there's a mod to get rid of those yet. I'll have to look that up after this. Okay, this is going to be an 11-second burn, so at 5.5 seconds, we can go ahead and warp forward a little bit further. And then at about 10 seconds, so now, I'll stop the warp. And start the burn. Oh, that was an overcorrection on my part. Let's get back in there. Okay, get right on that node, if I can see it under the radial marker. I only kind of can. Is that the dot down there? No, that's the dot. 3.5 meters per second. I think technically we're close enough, but I just want to make absolutely sure. Okay, that's close enough. 0.1 degrees, but it's fine. So when do we want to burn? Around here-ish? Like basically when we're over the KSC? Let's go ahead and burn to head towards Minmus. We don't quite need that much, but we need to do this a little later. Oof, that's a moon. That's a moon encounter. That's a moon encounter. Get out of here, moon. Nobody likes the moon encounter. Okay, let's go ahead and modify this ever so slightly. Raise up the apoapsis. Technically, I don't want to be adjusting radial. I want to be adjusting retrograde. That was too much. I wish KSP would stop, like, changing the amount that the mouse wheel does. Okay, let's try just straight up 905. I thought that might be too much. 906. Okay, good enough. Well, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we will send this satellite towards Minmus. Subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time.